And welcome into the Paul Farrington Show, a fun Friday edition of the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined alongside Jack Weinberger, Robert Ziggy Ziegler is back from Yosemite, and Zack Bloomquist, the best executive producer in the world, has a camera on him today. Go ahead, Zach. Well, a little flex for the camera.
Zack's starting the grind again, rumor has it.
He's starting the grind again.
Yeah, apparently Zack has been ghosted from Tinder.
Yeah,
so.
it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
On to the next one. On to the next one.
We move on.
They're missing out. They're missing out.
I just get bigger every day. That's all it is.
Her loss.
It is her loss.
Yeah, we'll regroup from this. So we have a fun show today. We'll talk a little bit about Ziggy.
I do have a secret admirer.
Oh, you do?
Well, I don't have a secret admirer. Somebody else has a secret admirer that we all know about. That is me.
I'm sorry. I had no idea.
What are you talking about?
No. Paul,
yeah, I think I put it together.
Paul put it together.
Oh, why?
I am the secret admirer to somebody else.
You are the secret.
No, Zach's a stalker. That's the other.
I am not a stalker. Paul's just putting this wild thing out there that I'm a stalker.
Hey, there's a difference in secret admirer versus stalker.
Yeah. That's a line you don't want to cross.
Yeah.
One of these days, one of my students is going to find this show, and it's going to be a disaster. Yeah. I'm going to get blackmailed so hard.
Zach is not a stalker.
My whole middle school basketball team listens to the show. I'll say something, and when it's on, I'll be like, "No, you're done."
Oh, someone will get fired. Someone will get fired at some point. Ziggy deemed us the young quarterback show earlier today in a text message, and he's kind of right. We do talk a lot about young quarterbacks because it's exciting, it's fun.
They're our age.
We'll have a little bit of Stetson Bennett conversation today. It's too bad Andrew's not here for that because he loves the guy. Stetson, apparently impressive so far with the Rams at minicamp. You roll your eyes, but good sign so far,
Everyone's
Ziggy.
Impressive. Everyone's impressive, man.
Hey, just saying. Justin Fields, we'll talk about him later, had his best day of practice today, Thursday. Oh. Yeah, he did. Well, after 2 bad days. So, there is negative news sometimes coming out of mini camps and OTAs and stuff like that. It's not always sunshine and lollipops. But we'll start with Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers, Matt Canada. We talk about them a lot, but a really interesting article came out from The Athletic that Ziggy sent us earlier today. And when you look at Kenny Pickett as a whole this offseason, really pretty much praise all around. From the top to bottom, from Omar Khan all the way down to other players. They're just saying he's improving. We've seen him. He's gotten bigger. I think he's put on 10 or 15 pounds this offseason. Focused. He's detailed. Just playing really good football in camp or in OTAs and minicamp so far. But there's one interesting quote that Matt Canada had today. And we've talked about before how you and Andrew really don't like Matt Canada. How you think he's predictable, he's a bad play caller, could ruin the offense. But something came out where he said, there's an identity that's coming from the organizational plan, right? It's not like I'm coming in here and saying what it is. There is a plan from Art Rooney to Coach Tomlin. We do have an identity. We're going to be a physical team, and if you do stop the run, then we have to take advantage of that with play action passes, misdirection passes down the field. That is when Kenny has to make those plays when he is called upon. So we know the Steelers want to be this tough-nosed, run the football, pound it in your face kind of a team. But Kenny Pickett, with all these strides that he's making, I kind of wonder if they're making a mistake not letting him a little bit more off the leash than it seems like they plan to right now.
So look at the Pittsburgh Steelers first off. Historically, you talk about Pittsburgh Steelers, they're a team who their true identity has been run the ball and play very tough defense. That's what the Steeler way is. I don't hate it. I've never liked Matt Canada. As you know, it'll be a 3rd and 8, and he'll throw a screen behind the line, and we'll get stopped.
Yeah,
just stupid nonsense like that.
Playing not to lose.
Playing not to lose. There were a lot of times where he took the cuffs off Big Ben. Like Ben, he was throwing the ball great, and then we'd abandon it. If we're running the ball great, he abandoned it, and he just it doesn't make a lot of sense. With that said, though, I don't think it's such a terrible thing. Look, you built your offense. The O-line's improved. It's going to be a little bit better than it was last year for sure. We got some new weapons. We got A-Rod. We got Darnell Washington, who can also block. A couple big tight ends now. Mm-hmm. If we can run the football, I think what he's trying to say is if Najee can be successful running the ball, then that opens up Pickett's ability to throw the ball. I don't think he's trying to say, Najee's going to be the heart and soul of this offense. I think it'll be a team type of effort where Najee, with success, can open up Pickett's ability to throw the ball. I don't think he wants Pickett throwing the ball 50 times a game like Big Ben used to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that.
And you don't want that necessarily.
Yeah, I don't want. He's a young kid. I'm okay with that.
Ziggy, what were your takeaways?
I worry a little bit about this plan from the Steelers. I mean, you look at the team last year, and the offensive game plan, I mean, running the ball was somewhat successful, right? They were 16th in total rushing. They were able to move the ball pretty consistently, right? They were better than their opponents in yards per game, yards per play, third down conversions. They had like 30 more rushing yards a game than their opponents. And they were 27th in scoring, right? The offense was ugly, despite the run-first game plan kind of working as intended. So I worry that if this team's trying to run it back with just some changes, right? A slightly better Kenny Pickett, slightly improved receivers from guys like George Pickens taking that next step forward. If you're trying to bring forth the same basic plan, you're going to get the same basic results, which is a lot of rushing yards and having the clock for a long time, getting those first downs and not scoring touchdowns. It's just tough to succeed like that in today's NFL. So I worry that their goals to try and create a functional offense this year are starting off on the wrong foot because they're forcing an identity they don't need. It's not like this team doesn't have receivers. It's not like you don't have a decent quarterback or a good offensive line. So I don't know.
But here's the thing, too, before you go, Paul. I think Kenny Pickett is going to be a good enough quarterback where the offense can play through him. Like if Najee Harris is not having a good game, if they're not running the ball well, I think Pickett can take over, can kind of spearhead the offense, and then that will kind of spearhead Najee.
I'm fine if they want to do that. Like last season, Pickett was turning the ball over a lot at the start of the season. They kind of pull in the reins and start running more, and that's when they start to have more success. You mentioned that, Ziggy. We have right here at the end of the last season, I'm pretty sure that they ran for over 100 yards in 9 of their final 10 games. And as down the stretch of the season, they were what, like 7-2 or something like that, I think, in their final 9?
Yeah, 7-2.
Yeah, so as they continued to play better football, it was ugly still, though. That's like what you said, Ziggy. They were winning these games, but I don't know if you can account for winning so many close games like they did at the end of last season with the offense they have. I think it needs to be exactly what you're saying, Jack. You can have this run-first mentality and play defense, but if your approach is don't let Pickett make the mistake, at some point, I think that catches up to you, especially in the AFC where they are right now with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, you have Joe Burrow, so many great quarterbacks and so many high-scoring offenses. I think about the Vikings a lot when I see these defensive-minded coaches. It's tough to win when you're not adapted to today's NFL. So if they're willing to put the ball in Pickett's hands more, which I bet they are,
I think they should.
But if they're willing to do that as the season progresses and hopefully he's playing well, I think it should be fine. But I don't want to see an offense where they're restricting Pickett. If he's playing well, let him go. Let him grow. That's how you get better. Well, you got to make some mistakes sometimes.
That's the thing. Last year, we saw countless times. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see the potential Pickett has with his arm. We saw it on several occasions last year, and it was the same deal with Big Ben. And maybe because Pickett was a rookie, who knows? But he was throwing the ball. He'd complete 3, 4, 5 passes in a row. He'd look awesome, and then we abandon it, which I don't like. So, I mean, I want to see Kenny Pickett this season, and I think we will have his games where he's awesome. And I think he's going to win some games. And if that's the case, I don't want to be a run-first team that day.
Okay.
Mike Tomlin loves to ask what the standard is and say who's the standard. Well, here's the standard in the AFC. It's the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So it's one thing if you don't trust your quarterback, but Kenny Pickett is clearly earning that trust. The most important thing for them this year is not to dumb down the offense to suit their head coach who just wants to manage the risk reward. You got to find the right balance, and I'm optimistic they will, but they need to be careful not to make the same mistakes they did last year.
And you can beat up on the AFC South. You can beat the Browns. You can win those games by playing run-first football and defense, not letting Kenny lose the game. But you go into Arrowhead in January, it doesn't matter. I don't care how good their running game is. You're not going to outscore Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in that situation. So that's where I do think that by that point in the season, you need to have faith in Pickett and be willing to let him just go.
If Pickett's playing well, the cuff should be off.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm excited. I'm really excited to see him. Now, this leads in nicely to our next topic here, which is between Pickett and Justin Fields. Again, Justin Fields is one. These are two guys where there are a lot of expectations coming into this season. Another one would be Trevor Lawrence, but I think he's in a different category where it's, will Lawrence take the jump to the Joe Burrow, Josh Allen? Not Mahomes. I still think he's a tier above. But will Lawrence become a superstar this year? that's the expectation. That's the question mark around him. With Pickett and with Fields, it's okay. Will these guys become, maybe top 12 players in the NFL, top 13 quarterbacks, somewhere around there? And who are you more confident in to get there? I'm imagining.
I wonder who Jack's going to say.
I'm imagining that Jack's answer. We could get this one out of the way. We know who Jack's going to
I was going to say, I could let Ziggy.
But try a little unbiased commentary.
I think that Kenny Pickett
being unbiased is just not two words to
tough.
go together.
It's tough. I think Pickett is in a little bit better of a situation to succeed. Mm-hmm. I think the Steelers are better than the Bears. We saw Justin Fields, for the most part, break out a bit last year. He was very good.
He was splashy and dazzling, I would say.
Not quite a breakout, but he was very good in the Bears. At 3 wins? Like, I don't know how high.
Was that a joke because they won in the rain? That one giant rainstorm where he splashed and like dove into the water.
that is not what I was going for, but yeah. What they win 3 or 4 games last year?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah. I mean, they had the first pick in the draft.
I don't know how high
4 and 13,
the ceiling is for the Bears. And because of that, I don't know how high the ceiling is for Fields. So I'm going to say because of the situation, I'd probably go with Kenny Pickett.
Okay.
But I don't know, Jack. Things are changing pretty quickly in Chicago, right? They've got DJ Moore. They've finally traded for that big receiver. Justin Fields is entering his 2nd year in the system, right? The kinds of things you look for in quarterbacks who break out, getting those big new receivers, having that 2nd year, the things that led to guys like Allen and Hurts breaking out, Justin Fields has the same kinds of things going for him. Now you worry a little bit because Justin Fields passing the ball last year was bad. Right, there's no way around it. He could run really well, and that's boosting a lot of his stats, but the passing was tough. I don't know if you watched many Bears games. You probably shouldn't have because the team was bad. But Fields, the team didn't work well with him, right? He had terrible receivers, and he didn't work well with the team. So there's a lot of improvement needed there. But if you think he can pull it off, right, most of the best quarterbacks in the league are at least good runners. Many of them, like Allen, many of them, like Allen, like Hurts, are great runners. And Justin Fields has that great running gene. So that gives him a big advantage, I think.
Yeah. He's probably better than
both. He may be the best running quarterback in the NFL except for Lamar Jackson. Who knows? I wouldn't be stunned to see him better than Lamar. But there's a lot of things in his favor. And for that reason, I think even though initially the situation seems to favor Pickett, Fields actually has a lot more going for him. So I'm siding with Justin Fields here.
That's another point I wanted to bring up. Like we won't see Kenny Pickett have those flashy long runs where he beats everybody. Justin Fields is special. He won't
be the fantasy star.
Like Fields is special like that. It's a very small handful of people who can do that. Like Pickett won't put on shows like that. But I do think Pickett's better with his arm. I think I trust Pickett more in a 2-minute drill type of situation.
Oh, he was great at the end of last season.
Yeah.
4 game-winning drives, right?
Late in the season too, when they meant something. Mm-hmm. So I think Kenny Pickett, while he's not quite as athletic and flashy, is a bit better of a quarterback than Justin Fields is.
Yeah, and I would agree. The way where I come down on this is I think that Pickett, I have more confidence in him taking a leap this year, but Fields has a higher ceiling. If Fields is able to get there, he can be a top 10 quarterback in the league by the end of the season. I really have no doubts about that. He's just the dynamic running combined with if he's able to figure it out as a passer would not be matched by many players in the league.
Pickett's a good passer.
But no, Pickett's a great passer, and he should get better this year. What I think with Pickett is if he's able to come in and play a little bit better throughout the season as it's going on, we're going to see him probably fall into that 12 to 14 range of quarterbacks this year. But that ceiling for Fields, man, if he's able to make it work, it will be really exciting. I do think, though, Ziggy, you brought up a great point with DJ Moore coming in, like A.J. Brown, like Stephon Diggs, for those other quarterbacks you mentioned. He's really good. We joke about DJ Moore a lot. I know Zack loves him for his fantasy team. I think DJ Moore is one of the most disappointing fantasy receivers.
You'll see him in the 4th round, he
gets tempted. Yeah. And he has some big weeks, but a lot of times it feels like 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, 3.
But DJ Moore is really good. When you watch him play and you hear people talk about him, his peers around the league, he's a really good receiver. So that's going to help Fields a lot because Claypool's good, Darnell Mooney's good, but none of them are real number ones. DJ Moore is actually a number 1 receiver. So I think that's going to help. We've just seen now for Fields, this is year 3. Pickett is year 2. last year we were all anticipating a big jump for Justin Fields, and we had a little jump, especially from a playmaker standpoint.
I thought it was a lot better last year.
I thought he was better too, but not as a passer. And that's why I kind of doubt that we're going to see that much improvement from Fields this season. Even the early reports are that he's been a little inaccurate in mini camps and OTAs, and that's fine. It's like, again, it's shorts on right now, but we just have seen this now for one off season where he didn't really take as big a leap as people were hoping for. So I have my doubts with Fields, but again, super fun guy to watch.
Every single year, I'm not saying it's going to be Fields or Pickett, but every single year for the past 7 years, you've had one of those second or third year quarterbacks, someone people maybe didn't expect, take an enormous leap, right? You had Jared Goff in 17, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lawrence, and Hurts, right? Every year, some second or third year quarterback takes that step from being a pretty decent player to absolute superstardom. I think there's a good chance it's either Fields or Pickett, but there's Trey Lance is in there. Mac Jones is in there. Jordan Love.
Come on, man. What
Desmond Ridder.
Who are you throwing out here right now? At least
last year, if I had told you that Jalen Hurts was going to be an MVP type player and lead a team on a Super Bowl run, they didn't end up winning the Super Bowl, but they made the Super Bowl game. He played extremely well. If people had told you Patrick Mahomes was going to absolutely light up the league and win MVP his sophomore year after we'd seen basically nothing from it.
What do you mean? His first year he didn't play.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's always a guy who's unexpected that ends up doing really, really, really well, right? Lamar Jackson, that MVP year. Who saw that come? So it's going to be interesting to see who it could be.
Lance isn't even going to play once Purdy gets back.
He's the back guy.
He's coming off injury. And Jordan Love, I get what you're saying, though. It's that, yes, we've seen these guys who we don't anticipate taking the job. I think Pickett and Fields much better fit what you're trying to go for than some of those other guys you said. But yeah, like Jalen Hurts, if you go back a year ago, we're all sitting here looking at the Eagles saying, they'll compete for a playoff spot. Maybe a wild card.
At first, okay, they'll be all right.
Yeah, Dallas will win the division, but Philly might be able to sneak into a wild card and get 6 or something like that. And look where they are now. I get what you're saying. So Ziggy, do you come down on Fields?
I think Fields has a better chance because he fits the profile better and has the legs.
Yeah,
but it could be. I think those are my two forerunners to be the lead quarterback of the year.
And then me and you are both Pickett.
I'm going to go Pickett. Yeah.
Fields does have a lot of similarities to Jalen Hurts. I mean, there of course there are differences between the two guys, but when you look at just the profiles, it's kind of similar dudes. Okay, why don't we before we do our top 5 quarterbacks under 25 for the 2023 season, quick conversation here on Stetson Bennett. There's been so much conversation about him going back to this past college football season. Like, think about, we talk about go back a year ago, go back 2 years ago for Stetson Bennett, and think about where he went from to where he is right now. You give him 2 national championships in college, he gets drafted. I don't think, even after winning the first national championship, no one thought he was going to get drafted.
The guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, I remember when people were making fun, people were saying it was a bad decision to come back to Georgia. It's like, are you kidding me? This guy, people said he might ruin his legacy if he comes back and they don't win again. It's like, what? He's already won. Now you come back and have your victory tour, and he just winds up going ahead and winning again.
Won by 50
and getting
points,
drafted.
Championship game.
So
when you say come back and have your victory tour, he didn't have a spot guaranteed coming back, which is just insane.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. So he has, obviously a great end of the season. One thing about Stetson Bennett you have to remember too is that Georgia defense did carry him for a lot of both those runs. But last year when they played Ohio State, one of the biggest games of his career, they won that game because of Stetson Bennett. The defense gave up 40-something points in that game. I can't remember the exact score. But the Georgia defense didn't win that. That was Stetson Bennett. He played his best football in the biggest game of the season. And that's why he got drafted, I think. You started to see that towards the end of last year. Stetson Bennett was a big reason Georgia was winning, not just the defense.
Yeah, we've had this discussion before, Paul.
Yeah.
We were debating Stetson versus Aaron Murray, the best Georgia Bulldog quarterback of all time, I remember. And I said that, and you agreed, that first year when they beat Alabama in the championship game, the Georgia defense was the reason they won that championship game. And now you look at this second season, he gets into the playoff, goes up against C.J. Stroud. If you told me Ohio State was going to score 40-something points on Georgia's defense, and Georgia's going to win that game in a comeback fashion, I would have been stunned. And then to go and hang 60-something points in the national championship game.
I mean, that was the biggest snooze fest of all time.
Was blown away.
Yeah, so he's taken some big leaps as a quarterback, Stetson Bennett. And in minicamp, apparently he's turning heads. Here's the quote from Sean McVay.
He's good.
I've been really impressed with him. The one thing that stands out is when the ball is in Stetson's hand, the game makes sense to him. He's got a good feel for being able to get through progressions quickly. And he said, and it's kind of funny, he stays nice and steady, doesn't get too high or low. He's fun to be around. So, go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off, but there were several occasions last year when you watched Georgia where Stetson Bennett, he would step back to pass, and I would have bet my life the pass was complete. And he was just so smart.
I remember watching the Mississippi State game.
Yeah, I would get this caught. And, he'd let's say his first read wasn't there. He was smart. He'd notice it. He'd stay in the pocket. He'd find somebody else. He wouldn't make really any dumb decisions. Like, he played quarterback how the quarterback position should be played, and I was impressed by that.
Ziggy, do you think Bennett's going to be able to pull off an NFL career here? Maybe he's not going to light it up and come in and be the next Brock Purdy or anything, but the more you hear about him, are you gaining confidence that, maybe Stetson Bennett could serve as a backup for a while? Maybe he comes in as a starter and replaces Stafford at some point within the next couple of years. What's your confidence level in him?
I wouldn't be surprised to see him be a solid backup throughout his career. But you know how Stetson Bennett's not a threat? After every practice, Matthew Stafford is coming out and talking about what a great job Stetson Bennett's doing. When guys feel threatened for their jobs in the NFL, they don't come out and start talking about how the guy behind them has been super impressive and is doing a really great job. Like the Rams, it's minicamp praise, right? Stetson Bennett is doing well for your 4th-round quarterback selection, which is to say he'll be an all right back. But the numbers aren't in Bennett's. The numbers aren't in Bennett's favor, right? Guys of his profile are very rarely successful. And Sean McVay saying that he's doing a decent job in minicamp doesn't sway me.
Sure, but I do look at the Stafford-Bennett relationship, and those are two Bulldogs right there. It's a great place for Bennett to be because with all the off-field drama that's been around him for the past couple months, you go in and you have McVay, one of the best coaches in the league. You have Stafford, a guy I'm sure that they've met prior to being on the Rams together, with the Georgia connection. So I think Stafford likes the guy, and he's 35. I don't know how much longer Matthew Stafford is going to be in the league with all the injuries that are piling up for him. I'm imagining that he likes Bennett and thinks he's actually playing well.
Stetson Bennett made some throws last year. I know he was 25 years old playing against 19-year-olds on the best team in the country. Mm-hmm. So it kind of sways what I'm saying a little bit. But he'd make certain throws, and this is not the case in college with the majority of quarterbacks. He'd make amazing NFL-like throws where I'd be like, this guy is an NFL quarterback playing with college kids right now.
I mean, he was a grown man.
Right, that's why 20,
he literally doesn't qualify for our top 5 players under 25.
That's why it might sway what I'm saying a little bit. But I don't often watch a game and be like, he's an NFL player shredding up college kids.
I was surprised at how much the Rams are hyping up his athleticism. I knew he was an athletic guy, but that seems to be one of the big stories coming out.
To me.
No, that seems to be one of the big stories coming out of their minicamp is that he's much more athletic than people realize. Like Stafford said it. Cup is saying he's making really big throws. Like
he's able to move.
If Andrew were here, he'd be gassing the hell out of him.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so me and you are kind of buying a little bit of the hype.
I think he can last a long time as a backup quarterback.
If the Rams are having a horrible season, I'm excited to see if at some point we get to see a little Stetson Bennett.
Oh, he'll come in and be like, Matthew, you're not even the best Bulldog QB on this roster. Get out of my way.
I expect to see some Stetson Bennett at some point, whether it's injury or the Rams not playing well. I do think that we will get some, maybe nothing like substantial, but I'd imagine we get a little Stetson Bennett. Okay, we had to say goodbye to Ziggy, which leaves just me and Jack with Zack here producing the show. But we're going to finish up with the top 5 quarterbacks under 25 for the 2023 season. And as we said before, Stetson Bennett, amazingly,
that is crazy.
Does not make this list. Kenny Pickett's not on the list either. He's 25 years old.
I thought he was 24. He's 25?
No, Pickett's 25 years old.
Man.
It's crazy. The guy,
he was a super senior. Yeah, that makes sense.
We were debating whether or not this list should be strictly under 25 or 25 and under. The 25-year-olds are Pickett, Herbert, Tua, and Kyler. I feel like once you have Herbert and Tua in there, and even, honestly, Kyler as well.
Tua's 25 now, too?
Tua's 25. I feel like those guys, they're going to be on the list. So it presents.
Wait.
What's
Who
up?
is younger than us? How is he 25? He's got the same birthday as me.
I thought that I saw the Tua
Isn't
was
he younger?
Yeah, I didn't think Tua was 25 years old either.
Tua Tagovailoa says 25 years old.
Wow.
Really? I thought he was younger than us.
I think maybe you're thinking. I don't know.
I could have sworn he was younger than us.
I didn't know if Pickett was 25.
No, because he came in for the championship game when we were freshmen.
I
Right?
guess he is older, yeah.
We
He's
were
older by a
fresh-
year.
He probably just turned in college. That's when he came in and replaced.
No, we would have had been juniors in college.
So he's exactly a year older than you.
Yeah, so we would have had been juniors, right? He was senior.
No,
He wasn't a senior when he won the championship.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to think. Because then Hurts came back in and replaced. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's 25 years old. So 2 is no good. That leaves us with.
No, 2 is great. Don't be.
No, Tua's
Shame
all
his
right.
name.
Tua's all right.
Don't
No,
shame
I'm
his
saying
name.
he's fine. He's just he doesn't count for the list.
Yeah, but don't shame him like that.
So you have the 21-year-olds are C.J. Stroud, Richardson, and Young. 22-year-old Sam Howell. 23 Lawrence, Desmond Ridder, Brock Purdy, and then the 24-year-olds are Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones, Love, and Justin Fields. The way that I ranked it here, we'll go 1 to 5.
You just read off your list. I'll say that.
I have Jalen Hurts as a number 1,
For
under 25.
okay.
Number 1 quarterback.
Yeah, okay.
Then I have Trevor Lawrence at 2. At 3, I'll put Justin Fields. 4, Brock Purdy. And 5, I think most people would probably put Mac Jones just because he's played. I actually have Bryce Young at number 5 right now. Even though we've never seen him play a snap in the NFL, I'm just thinking, who will I want for the 2023 season? And I'd rather have Bryce Young than Mac Jones.
Well, I think Bryce Young stinks, but it's going to stink. But I wouldn't. We know
Hurts and Lawrence have to be 1, 2.
Yeah, they're 1 and 2.
In whatever order you want. I prefer Hurts a little bit over Lawrence.
I think we already know the ceiling and what we're going to get from Mac Jones.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's much. So I'm totally fine with you putting a rookie in there at 5.
Yeah, that's really the discussion because I'm not putting Desmond Ridder. I'm not putting Jordan Love. And then and I'm not going to put Mac. So if it's pick one of the rookies, I like
Yeah.
Bryce Young more.
If you like Bryce Young, there's no problem going over Mac Jones.
I believe Ziggy had Hurts, Lawrence, and then maybe he had Purdy, Anthony Richardson, and Fields. He's high on Richardson.
I think I'd leave AR out of the top 5 for now. I'd probably go Fields at 3 and Purdy at 4.
Fields at 3, Purdy 4. Yeah, that's what I have as well. I think those 4, Hurts, Lawrence, Fields, Purdy. That's what I would have there.
I maybe even flip flop Fields and Lawrence.
Well,
I think it's a clear top 4.
Yeah, let us know if you're listening. Please comment who you think your top 5 quarterbacks under 25 are from those list of guys that we said before. It does seem like there's a fairly clear-cut top 4.
I think it's a top 4.
Followed up by, whoever you want there.
But people might disagree.
Crazy that Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence are not even 25 years old.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Like Trevor Lawrence being 23, if he takes that leap we were talking about, he's going to be, oh my gosh, Jacksonville.
How old's Joe Burrow?
26, I think.
He's 26.
I think he's 26. I mean, all these guys are young. Even Mahomes, Lamar,
Mahomes is 27. Josh Allen's
Allen.
27.
Like, these guys are going to be around for a while.
It's the new regime.
Yeah, the new era.
It's the new Big Ben. The new
Yeah,
Matt
we were talking the
Ryan,
other day. It's
new-
like, really, we only have Aaron Rodgers left, right?
I wouldn't.
maybe
I
Stafford
don't think
and
I can
Kirk
even
if you-
count Rodgers.
Yeah, I
as
don't
part of
even-
that.
I think you got to
I-
count Rodgers.
Well, I thought he was afterwards, after all those
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, I'd say Brett Favre was a part of those guys.
Yeah.
I don't think Aaron
See,
Rodgers is a
I
part
think
of
Brett
that.
Favre was
Favre was probably earlier.
a little earlier.
A little
I-
earlier.
You think?
Didn't Favre come in 92?
Was 92?
Favre came in, I think, in 92. That's
Yeah, for the end of Favre's career was like the beginning of those guys' career, or at least for Big Ben.
Peyton's the beginning of it, and then you have Brady and Big Ben and Rivers and Eli.
Breeze.
But if you're going to count
Yeah.
Matt, if you count Matt Ryan, you got to
Rivers.
count Rodgers. Rodgers was drafted in
Well,
what,
I
04?
don't know if I count Matt Ryan.
No, you got to count out Ryan. He was part of that.
Well, then you got to count Rodgers too.
Yeah, you
I
have to
guess
count
we'll
Rodgers.
okay, we'll count
Rodgers is 40 years old. He
Yeah.
has to count.
I mean, I wouldn't count either one of them.
Would you count Kirk Cousins?
No.
Yes. No.
Kirk's like that in between dominant.
I would
Yeah.
count Kirk.
I mean, but all those quarterbacks were also like stars. Kirk is the most average quarterback we've ever met.
Kirk is not an average. I'm so sick and tired of this Kirk Cousins being a completely average quarterback. Someone commented that I was totally wrong for having him above Dak Prescott. They're like, oh, look at the game last year, 40-3. If you watch that game, you would 100% realize if you watch that game, flip Dak and Kirk, it doesn't change. The Vikings defense sucked. They were so bad last season. And the Cowboys had one of the best the Cowboys have one of the best defenses in the league. If you watch, Kirk was getting murdered by Micah Parsons. He was actually getting murdered on the field. I turned it off. If you flip them or flip the rosters, whatever it is, it would be the same exact way the other way around.
But how is he not average? He's just average.
No, he's the top 10 quarterback in the league.
No, he's average. He's a top 15 quarterback.
I think Cousins is an above average QB. But I think he's good enough for if you put him on a good roster, he'd be good.
He's not going to win you the Super Bowl.
But I don't think he's...
So how is that not average?
Do you think he's not going to win? Tua can carry you to a Super Bowl?
I do think Tua could carry you to a Super Bowl.
I don't. I think Tua is a very good quarterback who in the right environment can get you there. I think that's a very similar thing for Dak. Probably for who else is in that area. Then I just think Kirk is the best out of them. Maybe Goff. I mean, Goff, yeah, he got to a Super Bowl. Like, those are guys who they're not going to win you the game. I think there's a cutoff from the top 8. If you look at our rankings, those top 8 guys can get you there on their shoulders. After that, there's a lot of guys who in the right situations can be great. And I think Kirk happens to lead that pack. Yeah, Derek Carr's probably in there somewhere.
You look at guys who can single-handedly take you there. It's probably
3.
Mahomes, Burrow.
3. And
Allen, yeah.
I don't even know if Josh Allen anymore.
Well, I don't even know if he could either.
People are so down on Josh Allen. I think it's wrong that people are so down on him. Like he had a bad. You got to remember the Bills were the 2 seed last year.
Oh, he's very good.
With all the crap that went on with the Bills, and Allen was playing hurt. Didn't he have like a UCL strain for half the year or something like that?
Yeah, he's very good.
Like, we're forgetting that a season ago they were 13 seconds away from hosting the AFC Championship game.
But they were supposed to be unstoppable last year.
They were, but those were ridiculous.
And they got stopped by a lot of people.
Not really. They were the 2 seed.
Yeah, still got stopped by a lot more than they should have.
What do you mean? What was their record last year?
13-4?
They were. Yeah, I thought they were very good, and Cincinnati has this. Burrow has this ability to flip the switch.
I mean, Buffalo,
and so do Mahomes and Allen. So.
Buffalo was mauling teams. Like, they beat Rodgers on primetime by 30.
I think Josh Allen is
that
being
Green Bay team was
really underrated.
Trash.
I mean,
no, the Green Bay team's not very good, but I just think right now, people are super high on Joe Burrow as they should.
Wait. They also almost lost to us in the playoffs, and we had third-string quarterback Skylar Thompson playing.
Yeah, no, McDermott got significantly outcoached by Mike McDaniel each time they played this year.
I'm not saying they didn't hit a tailspin, but I think for the first 3 quarters of the year, Buffalo was kicking the crap out of teams.
But we also have to look at Josh Allen's start of his career when the Bills were absolute hot trash.
Why do we have to look at the beginning of his career?
Because he's got a superstar team right now, right? And in the beginning of his career,
does he?
He's got Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis.
Is Gabe Davis? I mean,
superstar receiver.
I think
he's a good number. He's probably one of the top number 2s.
Burrow. Would you not say? Burrow has better weapons.
Yeah, and look how far he's got, right? But
I'm saying
I don't think that's why you got
Gabe Davis. If anything, that's why they're looking at Hopkins, is because Gabe Davis didn't take the step forward that people expected from him last year.
I wouldn't say. I don't know if Buffalo's a superstar team.
Like, a lot of people have those expectations for him, but Von Miller got injured. A lot of their secondary got hurt last year. I think that,
and we saw Josh Allen start to crumble.
One of their players died on the field too. It was a crazy year in Buffalo.
If you take Josh Allen off the Bills and put in most quarterbacks, that team is okay.
At the end of the day, when you say he's consensusly,
he's top 3 quarterback,
top 3 quarterback in the league.
Yeah, right now. But if you look at him in the beginning of the start of his career, he was absolutely garbage.
But I don't care about the start of his career.
Well, you should care about the start of his career because his team was because he didn't have Stephon Diggs back then, and all these other players that he has now.
But it doesn't matter. 20 years old. 21 years old.
Jalen Hurts sucked 2 years ago.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but they built teams around him. This is what I'm saying.
I don't care about them.
If you take Josh Allen and let's put him on the Bears, does he carry the Bears to a playoff?
Yeah, they'd be in the playoffs with Josh Allen.
I don't think so.
I think with Josh Allen, they would be a playoff team.
Peyton Manning was what, 2-15 is
No. This is a dumb argument.
No. This is a great argument.
No, it's ridiculous.
No, it isn't ridiculous.
No, you're saying you're completely.
I think if you drop Josh Allen on a different team with a different coaching staff than what he has now, he is not the same quarterback.
He might be better.
I think he's worse.
I think he could take.
The Bills is not the best situation for a quarterback in football.
No, it's not the best situation, but it's one of the top teams, right? Like
Because of him.
No, I think it's because of the players around him.
If you put like Josh Allen on the Buccaneers, I think that they easily win the NFC South.
Yeah,
but look who they have. Mike Evans. They have Chris Godwin. They have top tier receivers. Obviously, they're going to do good.
Yeah, if you put Josh Allen on the Texans or the Cardinals, I think that they probably don't make the playoffs. But I don't even know.
Yeah, so he can't carry.
He does better than most.
I don't even know if Mahomes would take the Cardinals to the playoffs. Like
Mahomes will take him to the Cardinals to the Super Bowl.
If you put Josh Allen on the Bengals, I don't think Joe Burrow is significant. In fact, I don't even think I'd take Joe Burrow over Josh Allen.
Out on the Bengals,
I think it's just similar.
Yeah.
See, they got great wide receivers. You're putting them on teams that have great wide receivers. You have to put them on a team where the receivers are average.
But do you think Joe Burrow?
But Zach, this
is absurd.
If you put most quarterbacks,
if you put him on the Dolphins would be a Super Bowl
But look
favorite.
at Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes had the worst wide receiving core last year, and look what he did.
No, Mahomes is the tier one.
Let's say you take that receiving core and you give it to Buffalo. You think Buffalo does the same?
I'm not saying Allen's better than Mahomes. If you take most quarterbacks ever and put them on the current Cardinals or Texans, it's Allen does better than most.
Yeah, I don't think that Mahomes.
I think this is a stupid argument.
No. But we're saying he carries the team to something. I don't think he can carry the team anywhere.
All right.
Well, a bad team. Probably not, but most teams that we probably could.
Yeah,
I think it's a stupid argument.
That is a great argument.
All right, we'll wrap up. All right.
So from a biased Dolphins fan, Josh Allen can't go anywhere. If he leaves the Bills, I bet you he's a terrible quarterback.
All right.
Yeah, all right. So with that said, thanks again for listening to the Paul Farrington Show. We'll be back next week. Hopefully the whole gang is here, and we'll have some more lists, some more drafts, and we'll talk a little bit more about minicamps. We'll see you then. Thanks.